Hey YouTube friends, I'm filming this video on the 1st of December and I still haven't put my Christmas tree up, and I'm definitely not wearing any of the many Christmas shirts that I own today. That is massive alarm bells for me. But this burnout thing, it's not going anywhere. When my beautiful rain lilies, as they do every year, came out in my garden mid-November, normally I just get so excited because it means that we're super close to me being able to completely decorate the house for Christmas, and I get so much joy out of that every year. My close friends and family call me Mrs. Claus. I'm a complete Christmas tragic. When those lilies came out this year, all I thought is, wow, it's just something else extra to add to my to-do list. And if that doesn't send alarm bells, I don't know what will. So in today's video, I thought we'd make this video a little bit of a repot and chat. I've been really lucky in the last few weeks between going to that Brisbane plant expo called Plantabulooza and also through a number of my plant club swaps. I've ended up with quite a few new plants. All of them are in soil. And as you guys know, if you've been here for a little while, soil and I don't get along. Firstly, my sinuses are allergic to them, but also I'm just so used to now growing in my soilless chunky mix. I really feel quite blind with new plants when they're in these black nursery pots and they're in soil. Even using the finger dip test, the chance of me overwatering is absolutely massive. I'm just busting to get all of these new plants into my chunky mix. So I've been procrastinating week after week and just crossing my fingers basically that I'm looking after these guys okay. So in today's video, we're going to rip the band-aid off. You guys are going to come along with me. We've got 5 here, the 5 plants that are, I guess, my favorites, but also the ones that I feel are most likely for me to over or underwater. So I thought you guys can come along with me, repot with me, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about my burnout journey because, as I said, if I haven't put my Christmas tree up yet and I'm not wearing my Christmas shirts, yeah, it's going to be a bit longer journey than I thought. And you know what? I know there's a lot of people out there struggling at the moment, and maybe I'm meant to share a little bit more of my story. Before we get to repotting any plants, if we haven't met before, hey, I'm Mel. I'm that self-confessed crazy plant lady who just cannot stop talking about plants. In this channel, I bring you along on my planting journey, mistakes and all, in the hope that I can give you a bucket load of tips and tricks along the way to help you build your planting collection as well. One of my very favorite things to do is definitely to watch and listen to planting YouTube videos while I go about my day, doing my own planting chores or cleaning the house, and definitely having a cup of chai or 2 or 3 along the way. I would like to think that my videos can be that for you guys as well. In this video, we've got these 5 beautiful plants that need repotting, and I guess this is why I've been hesitant. Today's video is all about doing the hard things and definitely talking about my reason of how I found myself here and in burnout. I guess dark's probably the wrong word. It's a little bit darker than the normal style of my videos because the whole reason I've landed in burnout, and this is hard for me to even say, to get my head around that it's part of my story, it is because of some childhood trauma experiences that I had growing up. And I'm actually working through a lot of those with my psychologist at the moment. And let's just say that Pandora's box is open and I cannot close it, and it's having all sorts of effects on my body. If anyone else has had traumatic childhood experiences, I'll make sure that I really clearly timestamp down the bottom because you may just want to skip those parts. Yes, I haven't really had the words to talk about this, but the more and more I listen to other people's stories and the more and more I learn, I think it probably is an important thing to talk about. Christmas has historically always been a really hard time for me around this, and it's only going to get harder until Christmas passes. So I guess now is the time to talk about it. We'll do a chatty repot, we'll talk about our plants, but I really do want to talk about some of the childhood trauma as well, because maybe someone out there listening needs to hear this as well. This is my backup Oxalis. So the first Oxalis that I got a few months ago when I was repotting it, it was actually stuck to the bottom of the pot and the rhizome and the roots came separate to the plants. Happy to say that they're both starting to grow back, but at the time I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And then when I went to Plantabulooza, I got these for, is the price still on? No, the price tag, I got this for $10 at Plantabulooza. So I thought, you know what, for $10, peace of mind, and it really takes the pressure off me. It took the pressure off me trying to get that plant that completely fell apart while I was repotting it. But you know what, the really great news, so I actually managed to grow the other Oxalis from just the stem, which is amazing. It's rooting in water at the moment. And then the rhizomes have also started shooting new babies at the moment. And the exciting thing for this, if they keep going, my sister absolutely adores this plant. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to give her a propagation for Christmas as well. And the other thing I showed you guys when I first, I think the first week that I got this, I got a little bonus plant in here as well. And it has grown so much. When I first got this pot, it was so small. I thought this might be a weed, but I'm really glad that I didn't pull it out because look at that. So I'll repot that into its own pot as well. And then what else have we got? Is anyone surprised? I don't know that this would be one of my plant videos without another begonia. So this is another a dwarf version angel leaf begonia. It is just growing absolutely bananas. I just adore its dark colored leaves. It's so much smaller than my maculata and I just love it. It's in soil. This one I'm going to be changing the pot shape because I want to have this as a cover pot and the square doesn't quite work for that. This one, oops, getting messed up already. So this was my black velvet that I also got from Plantapalooza, $12. I thought that was a very reasonable price. I've been a little bit nervous, as you do. Alocasias have a bit of a moment when you repot them. So I've just been waiting for this new little leaf to unfurl. It's got 2 new leaves since I've got it. Just absolutely beautiful. This is probably, out of all of the plants, this is the one I'm most nervous about over or underwatering. I cannot get this out of soil quick enough. What we're going to do for the black velvet is, I'm a bit excited to show you guys this. I've started playing with Stratum because there's a number of planty people on the internet that talk about this all the time. So I've already repotted my Amazonica into this, my problem child Amazonica. It's the first plant that I've actually tried in the Stratum Perlite combo. So fingers crossed, we'll see how it goes. The dogs are helping me film again, as you can see. I got up to get these plants and they've sort of taken my spot. So this is my problem child Amazonica. Ever since I've got it, it's been exactly the same. It looks like it's just started shooting yesterday, actually, a new leaf here. So maybe now that I've put it in the Stratum, so I've done a mix of Stratum and Perlite. I'm having trouble getting close to the camera with Teasel in the way. So maybe it's about to break its cycle, but usually what it's been doing for me is that new leaf comes up and then this leaf will start getting yellow and then die and it will just keep cycling. But I'm hoping this is the first plant that I've tried like this. It's in a clear pot. The roots look super, super healthy. Let me just try and get around Teasel. Sorry, do you stay there, bud? The roots look super, super healthy. I don't know if you can see that. So I don't know. Hopefully the Stratum will help. And then this is, remember I said ages ago, this plant got knocked over. It was on one of my antique shelves. All of my potting mix scattered everywhere. And in amongst it, there must have been some corms. I did find one corm. I knew it was a corm and I put it in one of my prop boxes. And that's this little leaf here. But then the other leaf next to it went into the potting mix. I didn't even realize. And it actually popped up in one of my philodendrons, in my philodendron fat boy a few weeks ago now. I've also put that in my Perlite Stratum mix. I've just got it in a little self-watering setup. So this is what I do for a lot of my my smaller plants. I just use one of these little ceramic saucers in a very small nursery pot. That's a really good way for me to control the moisture. So this is the first lot of plants that I'm experimenting with the Stratum. I just heard that Alocasias do well in Stratum, and so I thought these are the plants that I'm going to try it in first. This guy's about to get the Stratum Perlite combination as well. All the other plants, so the Begonia will get my normal chunky mix but semi-hydro setup. This guy, oh my goodness, this is a white ghost. I have wanted one of these for so long. It was at Plantapalooza. We were walking past the store and I said to my friend, oh my god, I think that's a white ghost. There were quite a few of them they had for $5, and it was interesting. I got this one. I said, I need to get it straight away. That might sell out. I've never seen one for $5 before. And by the time we'd done a loop and came back past the shop, completely sold out. They certainly were popular for the $5. So I just adore the colors on this. And then this little succulent, my camera is really, really blurry today. Must be because I'm filming outside. It looks really blurry to me in the lens. And then this is just another succulent that I got from Plant Club, and I just thought they looked really nice in the pot together. But I have a super, super bad habit of overwatering euphorbia. So another plant I cannot wait to get in my chunking mix. This is probably the worst soil out of all the soil that I have. It's just quite dense and it's already starting to pull away from the side of the pot. So this one needs to be repotted ASAP. Talked about my Oxalis. Oh, got one more down here. Where did I move it to? Oh, here. And this is my climbing begonia. We've got the tag on it that I got from Bunnings weeks and weeks ago. Just adore this plant. Also in soil, going really well. It's grown quite a bit since I've had it, but if you see closely, it does have some a number of dry leaves in there. I think I have been underwatering it, but I haven't been getting to give it too much because I'm just so scared of giving it root rot. So also really looking forward to get this one into one of my self-watering setups. That's the lineup for today, guys. I'm going to take them all out into the backyard, mask up, and then hose as much soil off as I can, and then I'll bring it back here. I've got a potting table set up here, and we can get these potted up together and have a bit of a chat. I'll turn you guys off for now, head out into the backyard, get all these roots washed up, and then I'll come back and I'll repot here. Doing them all together like this, a bit risky but it means that I have to do them all today. So once I've rinsed all the soil off their roots, there's no going back. I have to repot them today. So you guys can hold me to account. We've got the 5 plants here. They're all getting repotted today. I'll see you guys in a minute when all their roots are clear. Okay, so we've got most of the soil off all of the roots. That part always feels really, really good. I don't know about you, but when I'm putting off doing a task, there's usually one bit of the task that feels bigger than all of the rest. And for me, that is definitely the rinsing off roots for a plant. It's a good opportunity to see the health of the roots. Last time I tried to repot a new Oxalis, it was a complete disaster, and I managed to pull those rhizomes and roots off. Happy to say that the soil just easily fell away from this one. I still did lose 1 or 2 of these beautiful leaves, but in general the plant has stayed together. This is actually the one we'll pot up first, because out of all of these plants, it is definitely the most sensitive. But I just thought you might like to see those. See all those rhizomes? What did I say I was doing with that one? I think I was keeping the original pot. Here. Find the pot. So the Alocasia is going into a clear pot. We'll leave that one next. It's not a really big root system. Maybe I'm going to put it in there. Always like to... Oh, hello, Daisy. Oh, Daisy's had treats. Like when she just finished them and found me. Hey girls, I like to look at the roots of a plant and then have a look compared to the pot size. And I think this is the pot that the Oxalis was in. But I think I want to put it in the Alocasia pot. That feels a little bit more cozy for it. So let's swap pots. I've only got 1 bag of Stratum. I won't use it on the Oxalis because I feel like the other one that I've got is actually going really well just in my self-watering chunky mix setup. That's what we'll do for this guy as well. Yeah, this is interesting because I normally repot out the back. I've got that breakfast bar that I normally repot on, but I find it's really hard to get a camera angle for you guys. So this is the first time I've attempted to repot out here. I'm feeling a little bit awkward. Alright, so I've got the Perlite first. And that's someplace to put in. I don't know if you remember from some of my other videos, but when I work with Perlite, ideally I wear a mask. This time I've made sure it is super, super wet because of that silica dust. I just thought it would be difficult to talk to you guys if I'm wearing a mask. I'm making sure on the outside it's ventilated and all of the Perlite is really soaked through, so it's really wet. So about a third down the bottom of Perlite. Because I'm putting it into a self-watering setup. Shake that down, and then we'll add some of my chunky mix. Okay, not too wobbly, that's a good thing. I'll add just a little bit more. So usually when I'm repotting, both my chunky mix can have a little bit of dust on it as well as the Perlite. So usually when I've done this step of the repot, I'll give this a really good flush through and just get any more of that dust out before I actually put it in my self-watering setup. I had actually rinsed these 2 buckets before I did this repotting because otherwise I'd have to be going backwards and forwards to the hose. So I won't give this a good rinse like I normally do, but just think if I hadn't rinsed all of this growing medium, I'd go and give it a good rinse. It might sound a little overconfident of me, but I feel as though I'm getting to know the Oxalis a little bit better. I've put it in just one of my normal self-watering setups. This is the standard setup that you guys would see across my home. So I've got a black saucer, and I've got my clear self-watering saucer, and then just a black nursery pot. And this is my very, very favorite DIY self-watering setup. So I feel completely lost out here. I don't know where everything is. Just out of my normal routine. So this is my faithful watering can already with some foliage focus made up. And then just filling this to the first one, no higher than that line, because I've put the Perlite up to about here when I potted, so the roots are well and truly above that water line. Because these roots are used to soil, they're not used to water. We've just realized the sun is coming straight across my camera, guys. I'll finish with this and then I might move it. That's going to be a bit distracting, I think. So yeah, so although we want it to be self-watering, we want those water roots to develop, or the semi-water roots to develop over time and to reach down for the water itself. So for the first few months, when I first put a plant into a self-watering setup, I'm only filling the water to there at a maximum because I know the roots are higher than it. And eventually, most of my plants, when I lift these up, you'll actually start seeing the roots growing down the bottom, and then you know that the semi-hydro water roots have grown, and they're okay, and you're not going to get the root rot and the water logging. So that's my Oxalis. I find that most Oxalis are a little bit floppy when you first repot them. I might put a support or something in this one, I think. For anyone who's had alocasias, these guys are very, very well known for having a bit of a moment after they get repotted. Actually, hey Dave, this guy, I'm so glad that we decided to repot it. I've taken it away, but it actually had one of those growing plugs on it. The roots look super, super healthy, but yeah, it had this big plug on it. So really glad to find that. So I got rid of the plug. Forever the scientist, I did a bucket load of research before I decided to use Stratum. So the way that I've decided to use Stratum, because I've heard it can compress over time, you get about 12 months apparently. And a lot of people are saying that if you just add a little bit of perlite through that, it just helps as the stratum starts to compress. That's how I've decided to use Stratum. I'm going to mix it in with perlite because perlite is probably, out of all of the planting mediums that I use, it's probably one of my staples. So I felt pretty comfortable mixing it in with the perlite. So that's what we're going to do now. I've got this size pot out because it was the same size as the pot that it came in. But now that I can see the size of the root ball, that's a pretty big pot. I'm just going to go and grab another clear pot because that just feels too big. I like to have plants a lot more snug than that with their roots. That's just asking for a bit of root trouble, I think. I'll be back in a sec. I've got these alocasia pots, well, they called them orchid pots, but pots that a lot of people use alocasias for, from Alibaba. They were, I got two and they were, I don't know, less than $5 for both of them. So I thought this might be a good chance to use this. I used the smaller one, Daisy's helping. I used the smaller one on the Amazonica that I showed you earlier. So I guess it's fitting to use this one. That looks so much better. So I'm going to start with 1/3 down the bottom perlite. While I was getting all the dirt off the roots off the plants, I was listening to Wildfern's YouTube videos. There's probably 3 or 4 YouTubers that I really enjoy watching their channels. I just always feel so relaxed after I watch it. So now we're going to get the Stratum. This is the brand that I went with only because I'm in Australia and this was reasonably priced. It was easy to get online. This came with good reviews. What sort of bag is it? It's a 4 kilo bag. I can't remember how much I paid for it, and I thought I'll just get the one bag to try it. And if I add the Stratum in and then just shake it up a bit, different densities, the perlite and the Stratum seem to naturally mix. Okay, it didn't mix as well in that pot as it does the round pots. I'll have to mix it in here. Christmas is traditionally a really hard time of the year for me. My parents are separated, as many of us have experienced that. And for a long time, my parents took turns coming for Christmas. My mum would come one year, my dad and his new partner would come another. And then my dad, who passed away from dementia last year, when he became unwell, bless my beautiful mum, gave the thumbs up. And dad and his partner came for many Christmases in a row. Dad's dementia lasted for, oh goodness, so it was more than 10-year battle. So he probably came for 5 or 6 years in a row to our house for Christmas. Mum was so patient, and now it's her turn. So hence why Christmas becomes difficult, because my dad's partner still expects to come here for Christmas, and that's super, super awkward. And the phone calls and the pressure usually start around October, sort of end of October, and depending on what they end up doing for Christmas, that the conversations can finish in maybe February, I guess. It can be a long few months. This is the bit of the conversation that is a little bit heavier. And so for anyone who has experienced childhood trauma and something that I didn't even realize was part of my history or my vocabulary until last year when I changed psychologists, childhood abuse, a narcissistic parent. Wow, that's really hard to say out loud. Anyone who has suffered from that, I totally get if you would just like to skip past this part. So I'm already in burnout. And the reason that the burnout is staying is this constant contact and pressure that starts around the end of October, around Christmas. So yes, these phone calls are stressful. Every single year, they're stressful. There is so much pressure. It's been going on ever since Dad was too unwell to start coming here and in a home, and then obviously last year he passed. So this has been going on for many, many years now, and it feels extra big this year because I'm already in burnout. So my bucket's already full. I'm at capacity. These phone calls are actually making me feel physically sick. When I get off the phone to these phone calls, I'm like actually dry reaching and shaking and feeling physically sick. So how did I get to burnout? So I mentioned to you guys a few months ago that I'm talking and I've stopped repotting. This is why I'm terrible at doing a repotting video. I'm just going to rinse this because even though I had rinsed the Stratum earlier, Stratum is very dark. I want to say charcoaly. I do want to give this a rinse before I actually put it in its saucer. So I'm just going to go rinse this and I'll come back. So that's the perlite down the bottom. It's not completely straight, but I know that the roots are sitting up here, so the roots won't be down in the water. Even though I give it a rinse, I just accept with my self-watering setup that probably for the first 3 or 4 times that I water, the water that comes into here that is just not going to be clear. There's just going to be, oh my goodness, words today. There's just going to be dust coming off it, and I'm brand new to Stratum. This stuff is pretty black and messy. I imagine that's going to be exactly the case with this as well. We're going to put this in its saucer and do the same thing, just fill it up to the second line. That's just sort of the line and a half. Now, I would absolutely not be surprised if I lose. This is the most established leaf. It's still its original leaf from Plantable Loser. It's the only original leaf, and see it's got a little bit of a dryness on the end. I'm not going to be surprised if I lose that leaf after I repot this. This is its newest leaf, and I've just been waiting for it to unfurl before I finally did the potting. That's actually why I waited a few more days. Hopefully that's the only leaf I lose. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes in Stratum. People rave about it. People absolutely rave about it for alocasias. So I'm hoping that I have the same luck. I'm really loving these new pots, and they were only cheap, like less than $5 for 2 of them. I think I'm going to get some more. You know, when you buy online, it's hard sometimes to know the quality of what you're getting. I'm happy with the strength. They seem really strong. I'm happy with the amount of drainage on the bottom. I think they're a great shape for alocasia, and I like that they're not round. They're a little bit square, so a little bit different to some of my other pots, and also I can see the roots, which is amazing and exactly what I need for alocasias. Now, I've got 3 or 4 alocasias now, and although I'm having an argument with the Amazonica, none of my alocasias, it's not a complete disaster. They're going okay. I don't know why alocasias still freak me out so much. And on that though, I wanted to show you. So this, I couldn't repot this one up with you guys because I actually got it as a clipping. While we're talking about alocasias, I had to share. By all accounts, it's still really tiny, but my Plant ID app tells me that it's a regal shield. It's summer here, it's hot. My husband is a tradie, and he was doing work at a friend's house on their granny flat, so down the back of their house. And he called me and said, look, it's really hot. Could you bring me some hydration electrolyte drinks? So I took him some electrolyte drinks, and I had to go down the side of their house to get to this granny flat. And down the side, there was a garden, and it had, I wonder if I took any photos, like this massive regal shield growing down there. It was absolutely spectacular. It was probably about chest height. It was just in this side garden. And I went into my husband with the drinks and I said, that really big alocasia that's growing out there, do you think the friends would mind if I just took the tiniest clipping? It was absolutely huge. And look, I didn't want to take too much, but I took the tiniest. I made sure that I got a good amount of stem and roots. And already, let me just move a bit closer. So I put it in the Perlite Stratum mix, just like I did for my Black Velvet. And already, I've only had it for a few weeks, but it's already about to shoot another leaf. So fingers crossed for that one. Oh my goodness. I'd never seen a regal shield in real life. I see them all the time on YouTube. I can totally see why people love them. It took my eye, and I feel so lucky to be able to have got a little clipping. Another alocasia that's ended up in my collection. I seem to keep landing with alocasias, and they still scare me. Although I think the rescue ones or the clippings feel a lot less daunting than this one I actually bought. There's something about when you pay money for plants, I guess. We'll go with our Angel Wing Begonia next, and this is the one that I'm wanting to use this as the water cache pot. And then so I'm just making sure that I've got a nursery pot that'll fit inside. And this one, I've just had really good luck with my self-watering chunky mix. set up with Begonia. So I think I'm going to go with that. Although maybe I should try Stratum just out of interest. Let's try Stratum out of interest. Just see how it goes. Actually, I quite like the look. Why not? So I guess my parents separated when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I grew up, so I spent every weekend from Friday night to Monday morning at my dad's house with his partner. As a child, you know that it doesn't feel safe or comfortable, but at the same time, you don't have a point of reference. I didn't have a point of reference. I just assumed that if your parents separated, growing up in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't the internet. And if you think about the movies that you watch about step parents, I just assumed that anyone unlucky enough to have a step parent, that was just normal. I grew up thinking that unsafe feeling, that unkindness. I learnt to be invisible and hide my feelings, be hypervigilant and watch out for changes in emotions in the household, read the room, try and be a good girl, keep my head down, all the things. And I guess I just considered it as making me a more resilient, stronger person. I didn't really think anything of it. Even in adulthood, I just thought that's the experience that everyone had when they had a step parent, and why would the judge send me there? You know, the parenting order from the government. So I just assumed everyone around me knew what was going on, and that was just such a normal thing, and it was just my job to survive and keep my head down and be a good girl and try and keep the peace. When my esophagus broke a few years ago following surgery, the mental health outcome for people with long-term esophageal dysmotility disorder, it isn't good. If you think about our culture not being able to eat food, there is so much of our culture that is linked to think about birthdays and getting together with friends and family, even just the logistics of a liquid only diet and making sure that I'm getting enough nutrients every day. It is tough. And so a requirement from my specialist, I'm just going to go and rinse this out and I'll come back. So late, what are we up to now? 25. So late 23, December 23, I changed to my current psychologist after trying a few different psychologists, and we sort of clicked. And when I first went, she asked that normal question, tell me about your childhood, and I answered the same. Just putting some foliage focus in. I'll just stop the story there. This is a little bit harder because I've chosen to go with a cover pot, with one of my terrazzo cover pots that I just love. I wouldn't do this with a plant that I'm not familiar with. I'm getting very familiar with begonias. I'm just manually checking the level of the water in there. And I know that begonias are a bit more forgiving if I stuff the water up a bit. And it does mean that I haven't got that visual. I'm going to have to check this every few days, but I don't do this with all of my plants, but where this begonia sits, I really, really like it in this terrazzo pot. Just the same as the others, I've just filled that water up 1/3, making sure that it's below the roots. So anyway, my psychologist asked me that normal question, tell me about your childhood. I answered the way that I had always answered, and that was absolutely nothing to see here. I was so lucky. I had a roof over my head, I was always fed, and my parents sent me to a lovely school. And I'm here to talk about my esophagus. Anyway, she goes, stop. That answer you just gave me is not normal. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was lucky. I just had a really, really normal childhood. This euphorbia, I think I'm just going to go with my chunky mix. And she goes, when I ask about childhood, people don't tell me. That's not a normal way to answer. Like, well, I don't really have a lot of memories from my childhood. So she's like, I need some more info there. So after we dug into that a little bit deeper, she used the word that I never thought was part of my story, and that was, do you realize that you were abused as a child? And that's really hard to say. I pushed back and I said, no, that's not part of my story. Everyone who has a step parent, that's normal. You just have to learn how to survive and get through to being an adult, and you become a stronger person because of it. And she explained to me that wasn't a normal experience as a child. And I had to process that for quite a while because I think I was in shock. I didn't want that to be part of my story. You know, when someone's not nice. But because that was so normal for me, I had normalized it. I hadn't told anyone. And certainly with Dad passing, I had to prepare his eulogy. Some of those memories started coming back. what's led me to this burnout is 4 family photos in our group chat that were from during that time when it was at its worst, and I hadn't seen photos since I realised that my childhood wasn't normal. And I guess the photos opened Pandora's box. I opened the photos on my phone and I can't even explain. I was hot, I was cold, I was dry reaching, I was shaking. This went on for hours. I didn't know the photos were there. I opened them up and they were just bang in my face. I'll never forget that hot, cold feeling. Those few photos sent my nervous system into complete threat. I was right back there when it was all happening to me, and it triggered that flight-fight response, and it's not going away. I'm right at the beginning. I don't know how much of this I'll post. I don't know how much you want to hear. Dr. Romani on YouTube is like one of my besties. I listen to her all the time. My psychologists are amazing. I have lots of support around me. And I guess I'm slowly learning to put up boundaries. What have we got? We've got one more left. This poor begonia vine, I've knocked it over 2 or 3 times already since I pulled it out of its soil. I think I'm just going to go with my normal self-watering setup for this guy. I noticed it's pretty thirsty. In soil, I was having to water it about twice a week. So it feels like this would be a good candidate for self-watering. So we're going to do the same. I can't believe I actually bought enough perlite and also chunky mix because I've just got them in my good old, oh my goodness, these are so good, guys. For anyone in Australia, I swear by these. Good old Bunnings bucket. So same thing, I'm just going to put the perlite, so 1/3 perlite, keep it on its pole, make sure that I don't catch any of the leaves in under the soil. Oops, some of my chunky mix. Lots and lots of research around burnouts because now I can see it's going to be staying, and we've also got a Japan holiday coming up in late January. Traveling with my drinks, my nutrition drinks, is not always an easy thing. I guess it's just a little bit more challenging. So I've got that coming up as well. So I've done some research on burnout and recovering from burnout. And so what I've started doing for Christmas, normally by now, oh my goodness, 1st of December, you guys look like Santa and his elves had vomited all, like exploded all over our house. But I've decided I've taken it slow. I've got my favourite red Santa boots behind me. I will do a Christmas tour later in the month. Normally in November, I get our lights out and I make sure that they all work, all of the solar lights. I didn't do that until last week. Some of them aren't working, so I have ordered new ones, but they won't come till maybe even next week. I've got a really cool reindeer picture that I want to put up, and same, I'm just waiting for the frame to come. So instead of running around like a crazy person, I've decided that every day I'll just do something little on the days that I have the energy. And look, it may not be until mid-December that we have the whole kit and caboodle up, is that a word? The whole setup up, but I've decided I'm okay with that. Because from what I'm learning, slowly is the way. And little Miss Perfectionist here has realised that if she doesn't slow down a bit, it's not good. I have ended up in hospital multiple times from overdoing it and pushing myself too far. And so this is a really good lesson for me. Okay, so that's the chunky mix, and it's got the perlite down the bottom. I didn't bring a big saucer, so I'm just going to get a bigger saucer than this. I do have the next size up for this guy. Just put him in here, fill the water just so that the second line at a maximum. So I guess, how about you guys? How are you feeling with Christmas? I'm just such a tragic for Christmas that I'm not feeling it this year. I normally do a family calendar for cousins, aunties, uncles. I haven't even started, guys. I normally have it completely done in November and send them out. I have not even started the family calendar. It feels like Christmas came way too early this year. I'm just not ready for Christmas. And for the first time ever, I'm okay with that. And we're keeping Christmas Day pretty simple. My sister normally comes along. She's actually doing something with her fiance's family, so it's going to be quite a small gathering, which actually I'm really relieved about. I don't know, I'd love to hear from you guys if you feel the same about Christmas. Did it sneak up on you this year? And are you feeling the chaos as well, or are you pulling back like I am and taking it a bit more slowly and being a bit more gentle on yourself? I'd love to say that it's because I'm in my 40s now and I've learnt my lesson. It is absolutely not. It is just that I can see that this burnout, this nervous system is up here, and if I don't want to end up in hospital. again, and I certainly don't want to end up on a feeding tube again. So I guess the universe has screamed at me and taken that for me to finally listen. Did you guys know I love audiobooks? I don't know if anyone else enjoys audiobooks, but love Audible, love audiobooks. I listen to them all at like 1.7 speed, just like I do YouTube, get through so many stories. I love a good murder mystery. You know, there's a whole section on Christmas murder mysteries, which I'm just having so much fun listening to. I've been listening to one every day, and also just pulling up my favorite Christmas movies and watching them as well. So just trying to be slow about things, be of the mindset, it's okay, it's finished for now, just like I am with my plants. I don't know why I can't bring that into other parts of my life. Like, my plant collection is never going to be 100%. I'm always going to be moving things around. I'm always going to be finding little knickknacks to put in amongst them. So I'm trying to take that into other parts of my life. And do the fun things that I enjoy around Christmas, like the books. Oh my goodness, this Christmas murder mystery has opened up a whole genre of books for me that I'm really enjoying. So the finish of this video went for way longer than I thought it would, but I just wanted to really finish the video on a positive note, because things can happen to all of us, and I think it just feels even bigger at this time of the year when things are chaotic and crazy, and all things Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the repot. The relief is massive. I'm hoping to have something a lot more Christmassy for you for next week. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this video, maybe picked up a planty tip or two. Small channel, love reading all of your comments. Feel free to leave me some down below, even if it's just as simple as a planty emoji. It makes a massive difference to my channel. I hope you have a wonderful week, and until my next video, take care guys, and remember, you've totally got this.